Ready? Load. Aim. Fire!
Holy Hezbollah! Ahmed, you just hit that hospital.
Oh, you see it? I don't know what happened. It must have fell short. But wait, you see it? I do not think it counts.
We'll blame Israel.
No, we'll blame Israel. And we're okay, because we did not say the magic words. We did not say, Allahu Akbar. Coming at you from the Skyhammer studio here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. This is the Donzo and Deez show.
You have insanity in my earpiece.
I'm Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And my oh my, do we have some interesting stuff going on. So, the first thing I want to address, well, we've got an awful lot to go through on this show. We've got, Jim Jordan, the news with him. He has dropped out of the running for the Speaker of the House. We've got all this stuff going on in Israel right now with Hamas. We've got protests taking place out in the streets. This global day of jihad, which kicked off on Friday. We've got a lot of news stories coming out from across the globe, or as you flat earthers would call it, the disc. I don't know how that works, but across the globe, I think we're really closer to World War III, and we've said this before on the show, than we've ever been. I just don't see how. It's kind of like juggling, You did you ever try juggling, Deez?
Yeah, I actually used to be able to do it pretty well.
Really? How many balls could you get going at one time?
Most I could ever do was 3.
3. Okay. Did you ever try doing 4 or 5 balls?
I did try 4, and it was a catastrophe.
So the more balls you get in the air, the more likely it is you're going to drop one. Correct?
Well, yeah, that's
right.
Sound logic.
Okay. There's a lot of balls up in the air right now. Okay, in this little juggling competition in the world. One of them's bound to fall. So we're going to talk about that too. I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for the show, EnviroSeal. If you have sunken concrete slabs like patios or driveways and you need to pump up the slabs, give those guys a call at 309-275-6303. Deez, do you know what else they do?
I bet you're going to tell me.
I bet I am. They also do residential and spray foam insulation, and they actually use that same spray foam technique to pump up the slabs, and those slabs are ready to be driven on or used the same day. So give them a call, EnviroSeal, at 309-275-6303. Now, the big news, that's all big news, don't get me wrong, that really kicked off a firestorm around the globe, around the planet, in every major country, especially here in the United States, anywhere where there was pro-Palestinian or pro-Hamas idiots, was a hospital on Tuesday got hit in Palestine by a rocket. Okay, now the initial report was the hospital was hit, 500 people were dead, and of course it was the Israelis that did it, right? Yeah. And you had all these people coming out, and we'll get more in depth about who came out and said what. Rashida Tlaib came out, Ilhan Omar came out, condemned the Israelis. Everybody's calling for ceasefires. Because this hospital supposedly got hit. Now, what I can find is, A, the parking lot of the hospital got hit, and I've actually seen contradicting reports that 500 people were killed. What do you think about this,
I
Deez?
have a hard time believing that, by all accounts, including the video, it looks like most of the, quote, explosion was contained to outside of the building. So, yeah, I have a difficult time believing that 500 people died as a direct result of that.
The pictures I saw, the solar panels are actually still intact and mounted on top of the hospital. Now, I don't know how that came to be. I don't know how they cooked this up, but it was obviously done to fan flames. People took this and ran with it, which we've said on this show before. Wait for the rest of the story to come out. Wait for the facts to come out. We saw this with Michael Brown. We saw it with, who was that lady that got shot with the no-knock warrant?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but we saw it with George Floyd.
We saw it this week.
Yes.
The guy that got pulled over for speeding. The exact same thing.
And that's another story we want to get into as well. But we do have this Israeli stuff that we want to cover. Now, the initial reports, like I said, were that it was an Israeli rocket that hit the hospital, and everybody lost their minds, and people running in and crowding embassies and protesting at embassies and all these pro-Palestinian protests going on, and people saying death to the Jews, kill the Jews, gas the Jews, all this nasty stuff. And it comes out, is Israel actually had video evidence that this rocket was fired by Hamas. And something happened, it fell short and hit the hospital. They also released intercepted audio of Hamas terrorists talking about hitting the hospital. Now, do you think Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar came out and issued an apology?
Please.
Why would they do that when they can use this to further divide people? Now, they say, this Muslim extremism isn't an issue and there's not enough people to really do anything. I'm telling you right now, we had all these people on campuses that are pro-Hamas, these college kids that have had this pumped into their heads. I wouldn't say they're a majority, but it's a pretty large minority of people that really think that Hamas is in the right for doing this. Deez, have you been following up with that?
Yeah, I'm still kind of shocked at how much support they've actually gotten. Look, I don't know the whole story there. I'm sure that there are some fine Palestinian people that are under a lot of duress for a lot of different reasons. In no way, shape, or form does that or will that ever justify what transpired when they went in on their attack. At least Israel is issuing warnings saying, hey, if you're not part of this,
get out.
Get the hell out because we're coming.
Now, here's the thing. People can't wrap their minds around. A lot of people can't. People listening to the show probably understand this fairly well. And I got a news story I'm going to go into about just how out of hand this is getting. Hamas, Muslim extremists, do not care about other Muslims. Hamas does not care about Palestine. Okay? They don't care about the Palestinians. This is no different than a religious cult. They believe dying is the ultimate reward, the ultimate state. They're not afraid of dying. They want to die. They have been brainwashed and brought up all their lives that this is what they need to do, and anybody else that gets in the way needs to die as well. They use Palestinian refugees, they use Palestinian citizens as shields, human shields. Now, if you look at where they were firing these rockets from, they were behind the hospital, firing towards Israel. They were the hospital was in the line of fire. These people do not care. Okay? They will go out and kill their own citizens. They don't care because they think they're doing Allah's work.
Yeah. Now, they were probably trying to go over the hospital.
Agreed. But
I wouldn't rule out that they weren't and that they were using it as a tool to just blame Israel.
They have before. They've actually set up and fired rockets from hospitals and from schools because they know the Israelis don't want to fire back at them. Now, who did this benefit? This benefited Hamas. Now, even though we know that the cat's out of the bag, we know what the real story is. This is coming out of Israel. Israel has evidence that this was a Hamas rocket that supposedly struck the hospital, as Deez likes to say, allegedly. Okay? What this did, though, was it polarized a lot of people into siding with Hamas. Now, these people that sided with Hamas on this and sided on the Palestinian side of things, the evidence coming out doesn't change their mind. They'll just say, well, that's just Israel, Israeli propaganda. This has further inflamed everything now. Now, the Global Day of Jihad that was supposed to take place on Friday, which
disappointed.
Yeah, so disappointed.
That was almost as bad as that Logan Paul fight. It was just a complete disappointment and a waste of time.
Well, I wouldn't be disappointed yet, okay? I don't think we're going to have I don't think it's going to be that big of a letdown for sickos like you, Deez, because I think it's just starting. And stuff like this, when they exploit this rocket hitting the hospital or hitting the parking lot, whatever actually comes out as fact, like I said, further enrages people. Now, this is a pretty good telling. Now, London, England, is just screwed up anyway. This is a Gateway Pundit article. London is falling. Anti-Israel protesters raise Palestinian flag on statue of King Charles I. Wave keffiyeh scarf around his head. Beat pro-Israel protester. There was This is in London, England. This is how vast these people are, and they're allowing them to do it. The police forces are understaffed and overworked. They can't keep up with this. There was a Brussels. 2 people were shot in Brussels by an Islamic extremist in the name of Allah. There was a teacher that was attacked in France, knife attack, killed her. There was a guy that was arrested for punching a woman on a subway because she was Jewish. This is cooking off. Now, it may have been more of a slow burn than people thought it was going to be.
Was that the story? Did he punch her, or are you talking about the story where the chick got shoved in front of the moving train on the subway? Because that happened too.
Yeah, there was that too. No, there's
Jewish related, but
there's multiple. But the one where the guy said he punched her because she was Jewish. I mean, that's true. Now Hezbollah has gotten into this. Now they're firing rockets from Lebanon and Syria into Israel. Israel is surrounded on all sides at this point. Let me see if I got enough time to get into this a little bit. Hezbollah says it's thousands of times stronger than before, warns U.S. and Israel. Okay? Hezbollah has built their army up. Okay, Hezbollah is Iran. Iran's backed Hezbollah. Of course, Iran backs Hamas. They have been gearing up for something since we pulled out of Afghanistan, since Joe Biden became president of the United States. Are we going to see how far they're going to go? They say within 6 weeks, if they accelerate it, Iran can have nuclear weapons. Now, take Iran as a country and their belief system that everything is martyrdom. Do you think that they're going to think twice before nuking Israel?
no.
We'll talk about this more in the next segment on the old Donzo and Deez show here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. And we were talking in the last segment about this thing with Israel. Of course, this is going to be a bulk of the show. This is one of the biggest things happening in the world right now. This is far bigger than what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, which Russia is... I'm surprised Vladimir Putin is not out dancing in the streets right now, to be honest with you. This is one of the best things that could have happened to him. Now, we do have this coming through. Joe Biden is drafting, he was at the time of yesterday when I read the article, drafting an aid package. Did you hear about this?
Yep.
$100 billion. $10 billion of it was supposed to go to Israel, and then the good chunk of it was supposed to go to Ukraine. Now, how much of that's going to Ukraine, I don't know yet. We'll see if we can find it, if there's any updates on it.
$14 billion of it is rumored to go to going to the border crisis. Now, does that mean securing the border? Probably not. Probably means more money for transportation and
flights
food
to
and
wherever
free
they want to go.
phones
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see. So then it begs the question: how much? Did you see if they had any updates on that? How much is actually going to Ukraine?
No. But I believe it's whatever's left of $14 billion plus $10 billion of the total package. But no, I have not seen a final number yet. Either way, it's too much.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason that they're not giving us the final number. Well, I agree at this point. And I made this point on the last show.
I'm going to give you a probably very unpopular take right now.
Well, let's have it.
I'm a Steelers fan. Okay, everybody that knows me knows that. All right, Steelers kind of suck right now. So what I'm watching right now is like the Bears and the Packers, 2 teams I don't give a damn about. I just want to see a lot of hard hits and violence because my team sucks right now. And yeah, America kind of sucks right now because we're all divided. And we're in the midst of I wouldn't even say infancy anymore, more like, toddlerism of the complete societal collapse.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm just done with it, man. Just push the button. Let the survive or the fittest survive, and let's get it on.
Well, so yeah,
I'm done with the Republican Party too. After all the crap that's going on in that, they can all just get bent.
Well, I think everybody's just about done. Especially this is such a back and forth, and we'll get into that more probably in the next segment. But had to let Deez air his grievances out.
Yeah, sorry, I was sitting in the shower this morning. I was like, I'm just done.
Well, I think that says a lot about, you saying that encapsulates how a lot of people feel right now.
Yeah, that's the other thought I had is that I know I'm not alone in thinking this way. Just
I even got to the point myself. And this is anecdotal. We're not really covering the news right now, but even myself, I'm thinking, you know what, Israel, just go ahead and start nuking. Somebody's going to do it. Might as well be Israel. At this point, it's
turn it into the Middle Eastern Ocean.
I don't
all
want
of it. Just wipe it out.
Look, I don't want to give up. Okay. But there's a lot of telling things here. We are getting involved with this. We've got bases in the Middle East that are now getting attacked by Hezbollah. Okay. We've got 2 strike groups, the USS Gerald R. Ford and the USS Dwight Eisenhower, that are in the Mediterranean right now as a result of this thing with Israel. Now, I don't blame, and I want to get this out of the way right now, I don't hold it against Israel for doing what they're doing. I don't. In no way, shape, or form. You know, Israel, if we're going to support one, I've said this before, it's going to be Israel. That's just not only an expectation, it's just what we should do as long as it's within reason. Okay? I don't think we should be guns a-blazing right now because Israel can, for the most part, take care of themselves at this point.
For now.
But, you know, you can't help but think that maybe this was designed to break into World War III. I don't believe that Hamas was doing this and planning this without the knowledge, of course, of Iran. Anybody that says Iran didn't know about this is full of sticks, okay? And the knowledge of Russia, because we talk about Hamas being a proxy of Iran, Iran being a proxy of Russia, and, of course, Russia being a proxy of China. And I think this is all interconnected. So
it all goes back to the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. Sorry.
Yeah, you just had to get the wrestling terms in there, didn't you? But no, on a serious note, though, so we have, check this out. After this supposed day of jihad, we had a French school teacher killed, okay, in a knife attack. We had the Brussels terror attack, which was, they finally got the guy. He shot 2 people, and it was, like I said, Islamic extremists. There was this guy named Khalid Yagobi, who was arrested on murder charges after intentionally plowing a car into pedestrians, okay, killing one of them. So this is really getting people fired up. Now, with the strike groups being positioned in the Mediterranean, I think they're there for 2 reasons. I think they're there to show force. And yes, if Iran gets involved in this and Hezbollah does invade Israel, I think you're going to see those strike groups fire up. But I'm kind of with you, and I'm not giving up. I'm not panicking, but I'm kind of with you. At this point, this is pretty much a done deal. I don't know how we get out of this. I don't know how somebody walks into the situation and negotiates a truce between all these countries. I think it's impossible at this point.
I will be just flabbergasted, shocked if we aren't involved in a massive world war by the turn of the new year, because Israel's going to do what they're going to do, and then Iran is eventually going to do, they're going to get involved with Lebanon and Syria and all this, and then we're going to go in, and then China is going to be like, they're kind of busy, let me just go ahead and eradicate Taiwan. Meanwhile, Putin's over in Ukraine, and then it's all, as George Carlin would say, a big ick-waving ick fight.
So here's my point to this, too. We don't have strong leadership, which is going to kill us. Because these people around the world know they can get away with anything they want to. Now, a lot of people may not be aware of this. 6-Day War happened in 1967, okay? The Yom Kippur War happened, I think, in 73.
How long did that one last?
I think it was actually a little bit over 6 days. But the 6-Day War.
When was the War of 1812?
1847. So anyway, you threw me off there. The 6-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. So don't you think if one person's going to know anything about Israel history, okay, it's going to be the President of the United States while he's going there? You would assume so, right? Now, anything that
would have assumed
anything that should come out of the president's mouth should be rehearsed. He should have his aides going through it, and making sure. So this is what happened when he got to Israel. I remember the first time I was in Israel with Golda Meir. It was right before the 6-Day War. He went there in 73. Now, don't you think on the way over to Israel, he's preparing this, and they're going, he goes, it was right before the 6-Day War. I was there in 70. And the aide's going, wait a minute, dude, wait. 6-Day War was in 67. You were there before the Yom Kippur War. Say Yom Kippur, and you coach him. It's okay. And he gets off the plane, and he goes, right before the 6-Day War. Don't you think all the aides and all those people are just face planting at that point.
Oh, for sure. And they definitely went over this with him, but he's just mentally incompetent and completely forgot. And, he's the most unfit world leader in the history of world leaders. It's bar none. And
so I've got this for you. So he met up with Benjamin Netanyahu earlier this week. And he was telling old Bibi Netanyahu how much he supports Israel, and it was awful. It was embarrassing. And I'm going to play the clip for you right now. Now, you can't see it, but he looks like he's starting to fall asleep and he's reading off note cards. Okay? He is reading everything he's saying off a note card. So let's go ahead and pull this up and roll clip.
Taking too much time, but the point is this, that I was deeply saddened and outraged by the explosion at the hospital in Gaza yesterday. And based on what I've seen, it appears as though it was done by the other team, not you. But there's a lot of people out there not sure. So we've got to overcome a lot of things. And it also means encouraging life-saving capacity to help the Palestinians who are innocent.
Now, he's literally slouched over in his chair, looking down at note cards. With his head down, he's not even looking at Netanyahu. Now, I'm not going to say I'm the greatest orator on the face of the planet, but for those people watching on YouTube, I've got my gas contract in front of me, and I'm going to show you how this goes. I'm going to read it off. 2023-2024 LP contract agreement. Evergreen FS is offering 3 contract options for the 2023-2024 propane season. Now, did you see how I did that, Deez? Yeah. That's how you read something and look at somebody. If you have to read something, there is nothing in what he said in those prepared statements that no logical person should have been able to wing. Now, some may say much ado about nothing, but it's telling every time he trips, every time he falls, just what kind of a stick show we're in right now. And we got to rely on this guy to navigate us through World War III or potential nuclear war? This guy's got the
now
nuclear
you see
football.
Why I say what I say. It's game over, man. Game over.
Oh, yeah, to quote Bill Paxton in Aliens, game over, man.
Lock and load, America.
Well, you know what? One thing we haven't heard about since this war kicked off was aliens. Maybe aliens will come down and I don't know. I doubt that. That's not going to happen.
No, because they've been here and they're like, this place sucks.
Nope, turn around. We're out of here.
Yeah.
No, that's another argument we got to get into sometime about the missing link and all this stuff and evolution.
Hey,
and how
Zebor,
aliens
call the
play.
boss. Tell him this place ain't worth it.
We went off the rails, but we're going to have more Fooly Monkey Shines here coming up pretty soon, and some more news. We're going to get into the whole deal with the House Speaker stuff and much more.
What
here.
House Speaker?
What House Speaker? Yeah, the interim House Speaker. And just to kind of solidify further just how sick and twisted society has become, this is a Fox News headline. Veteran voice actress fired from animated show over Israel-Hamas post. She claims she found this out on Twitter. She wrote of her firing on Friday. This is what happens when you help fans get shows made, I guess. Fired for being Jewish. Glad I helped you get your Kickstarter money. Please lose my email address and pray for my family in Israel and Gaza. She did voice acting for the Powerpuff Girls, Rugrats, Teen Titans. We're going to go down to actually what she said here. Hello all, just wanted to offer a quick update on Boxtown. We will be recasting the role of Bill. We'll have more info soon on open auditions. So that was the role she was playing on, and Boxtown creators put this out. They got rid of her because she was supposedly Islamophobic. Yeah, I guess she was speaking out against Hamas, and that was Islamophobia. You know, she was talking about Israel's getting killed, so then she loses her job over it. So pretty much because she was Jewish. I mean, that's what's happening right now. That's what's going on. This is a new persecution of the Jews.
The new hotness. First it was BLM, then it was trans rights, and now it's
Hamas.
Yeah.
Don't you see a pattern emerging here?
There's been a pattern, yeah.
So the fact that this gal and her, let me go up to her name here real quick. I like how they leave that stuff out of there. Tara Strong was her name. And then I kind of ran through that. But still, you can't say this stuff anymore. This is getting so bad. It's like that what was he, French or Swedish? He was Swedish. The Swedish journalist that was jailed because he called that gal a fat lesbian. This is how bad it's getting.
Oh,
this
the
is
guy, I just saw, Mackey, I think his name was, something like that got 7 years in jail because he put out a bunch of Hillary Clinton memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They are literally persecuting people. This is how bad this has gotten. There's a State Department official. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, a guy named Josh Paul. He was working for the State Department's Bureau of Political Military Affairs, which is saying, hey, we're going to send weapons here, we're going to send weapons there. He was involved with that. Yesterday, he goes, today I informed my colleagues that I've resigned from the State Department due to a policy disagreement concerning our continued lethal assistance to Israel, he wrote on his LinkedIn. He then added, I cannot work in support of a set of major policy decisions, including rushing more arms to one side of the conflict that I believe to be short-sighted, destructive, unjust, and contradictory to the very values that we publicly espouse. He quit because we're sending aid to Israel, our strongest ally in the world.
Well, did he not see that we're also sending $100 million to Gaza? I mean, come on.
Yeah, we're sending money to Gaza, where's that going to, Deez?
Oh, well, surely it's going to, the women and children.
Aid, yeah, and to rebuild. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's not.
Obviously.
We know where that's going. It's going directly to Hamas. And we got Senator Tom Cotton, who I like Tom Cotton. He's pushing the Department of Homeland Security to deport foreign nationals who support Hamas. Of course, this is being protested right now. He's becoming an Islamophobe.
Yeah, see, it's like a cockfight, and there's America on the outside putting sharper razor claws on the two chickens.
You're going to have to explain that a little bit.
Well, we're giving money to Israel. We're giving money to Gaza. And
I agree.
There you go. Fight to the death.
Well, that's such a... I'm getting really tired of all this money, all our taxpayer money going to clean stuff up like Gaza.
Going to not us.
Well, here's the thing. The Gaza Strip, Israel did this back in 2005. They gave the Palestinians the Gaza Strip. They controlled the electricity, the food, the water. They had this deal to give them all this stuff, and they did it. And that was supposed to bring peace in the region. Then in 2007, Hamas took over and started firing rockets at them for doing all these nice things for them. Israel just wanted peace over there. They thought they were going to get this done, but it's not good enough. The UN goes in and runs a water system through Gaza. They cut up the water pipes and build rockets out of them so they can fire them at Israel, who's supplying their electricity and their food.
You got to admire their ingenuity.
God, I just cannot get over this right now. And meanwhile, when Joe Biden was elected president.
Selected, you mean?
Selected, yeah. Well, when he was, I wouldn't say he was elected. That was a piss poor choice of words, wasn't it? Elected president. All right, but when he became president, he said he was going to be the president for everybody, didn't he? Do you remember watching that inaugural address? And whatever somebody had written,
sleep through.
Yeah, but whoever wrote this for him, really put a lot of effort into making him sound like he was just a moderate, just an independent guy, and he was going to help everybody out.
He is. Everybody except for those that live in America.
Well, now check
the example. How many billions, hundreds of billions have we sent to Ukraine and coming soon?
I said, and here's the thing: this is hard to get through. But there's a lot of people say that we've only sent $76 billion to Ukraine, and I know it's approaching 150. It's going to be way over 150 billion since this thing kicked off.
Meanwhile, a measly 14 billion is for securing our own border, which they have now said 2.7 million have crossed this year, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever number they kick off, it's never going to be high enough because they're going to underreport it.
Yeah.
Now, look, talking about the aid, let's get that out of the way right now. I want to cover this thing with the Ukraine aid. Now, in I think it was 2022 alone, it was $80 billion from the United States. So, yes, my call on approaching 150 billion is absolutely correct when you count military, all this stuff that's went over there. 150 billion dollars we've given them, and I don't know what it's going to be after this aid package. We can't find that number yet, but 150 billion has gone to Ukraine, and Ukraine is literally hanging on by a thread. Vladimir Zelensky, I've said this before and I'll say it again, needs a third world war for Ukraine to survive. So if you think this guy isn't sowing division and freaking out right now because of what's happening in Israel, he's Stixing and getting. I tried to pull that off, didn't I?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. So anyway, $150 billion in aid has gone to Ukraine. That's just my estimate. It's going to be pretty close. And like I said on last week's show, since 1949, $133 billion has gone to Israel. Since 1940, 75 years. And Israel has one of the best security forces on the face of the planet. Now, there's a contrasting thing here because Ukraine can't even wipe its own butts at this point. So, we talk about the security forces in Ukraine, the IDF, okay, and how advanced they are and how great they are. Now, Donald Trump, I don't know if you guys heard about this, came out and called Hamas smart, okay? And he kind of cut Bibi Netanyahu down a little bit for the whole thing. I think it was Soleimani when he went to go whack him, and I guess Netanyahu didn't want to do it, and then he took credit for it, and Trump didn't like that, and people going, I can't believe Trump came out against it. Yeah, I didn't like it either, but you know what? This is Trump. Trump he does this. This is going to be a fart in the wind. This isn't going to change anything. But people came out and said, well, I can't believe Donald Trump called Hamas smart. Well, yet they were pretty damn smart. They outfoxed the fox on this one. Now, they, more than countered how smart they were there by hitting their own hospital. But they did so much planning and preparation for this. Of course, with the help of Iran, it was pretty slick how they did it. That's kind of my point to it. But talking about division, they always go after the people that voted for Donald Trump. You ever notice that? Oh, yeah. It's always the MAGA guys. So, interview with Scott Pelley. Pelley asked Biden, does a dysfunction that we've seen in Congress increase the danger in the world? And he replied, yes. Look, this is not your father's Republican Party. 30% of it's made up of these MAGA Republicans who are maybe, democracy is something I don't. They don't look at the same way you and I look at democracy. Yeah, we do. Yeah, actually, we look at it in a clearer lens and a clearer scope. We look at our constitutional republic that way. We look at the Constitution of the United States of America. Meanwhile, the Bidens don't. Meanwhile, a lot of these rhinos don't. Now, before we go to the next segment, let's just go ahead and kick this off. Speaking of rhinos.
You know who the happiest person in America is right now?
Who's that?
Hunter Biden.
Oh, absolutely. Hunter who?
Exactly.
So that's another thing too. Don't be disillusioned here. War will only usually help a president. I don't know if it can help this one, but everything going on right now, all the heat is a big deal for Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of cackling and laughing in the background at all the stuff is going on.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that they did a false flag. I'm not saying they encouraged this, but they're definitely not shying away and wanting to make peace. Look, they didn't want to make peace between Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine and Russia had a peace agreement, and Boris Johnson and America stepped right in there and said, you sign it, you're done. They had a peace agreement just to not join NATO. But I want to jump on this real quick. Of course, we're pre-recording on Friday this week. We have to pre-record. Everybody that listens knows that. So we try to be as up-to-date as possible here. We did some searching on the last break, and it appears that aid package, that $100 billion aid package, actually came out to be $105 billion, and it includes $60 billion in assistance for $60 billion for Ukraine, $14 billion for Israel. Okay. Also, $14 billion to improve security at our own border. Another $7 billion in assistance for the Indo-Pacific region, Taiwan. Another $10 billion would go towards humanitarian efforts, according to the officials who spoke on condition of anonymity. Carry the one.
Yeah. Okay.
So $60 billion is going to Ukraine. Of course, they had to do this. They had to get that $60 billion in there to the people that they've been laundering money through, okay, for decades. And the only way they were going to get that was to tie the Israel thing onto it, to make it one big bill to get all this stuff done. I think it should have been more like $60 billion for the border and, maybe like 14 for however it came out to Israel. I don't know. That's just me, though.
$100 billion to the United States. End of story.
What was it? Was it about $22 billion Trump wanted for the border wall, or $25 billion, and they just had a conniption over it?
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that?
Yep.
No
He's
way, we're
racist.
going to pay. Oh, yeah, he shut down government for it, and they wouldn't budge one bit. Of course, anytime they shut down the government, it's a Republican's fault. Okay. Maybe the government needs to shut down. I hate to say that at this period in time.
Don't worry, it's gonna.
I mean, I don't want our government to shut down during war. Under an ideal war, our government would be running, and we'd be kicking ass and taking names, and we're pretty far from it. Deez, let's talk about this thing with the speakership for the House.
Yeah, talk about a crap show. Jordan can't get the votes because there's 20 or so, depending on which vote you look at, Republicans that just flat out refuse to vote for him because obviously they want something, and it's basically the same thing that McCarthy went through.
Well,
first Jordan said he was going to drop out, and then somebody pulled him in a dark room and told him that that's not going to happen. So now he's back in, and there's supposed to be another vote that will probably fail. And I believe they're probably in session as we speak here on Friday morning talking about it. So by the time folks hear this on the air, I'm sure he will have lost another vote.
do you keep up with Steve Bannon at all?
No.
Okay, I do. Now, Steve Bannon came out and said this. You take it for what it's worth. But Steve Bannon came out and said that he has people on the inside that said after or prior to the vote, they're all having drinks. I can't remember where it was at, but there was lobbyists going table to table to the GOP members, making deals with them not to vote for Jordan.
I have zero doubt that is accurate.
Well, let me pull this up real quick. Now, this is an interesting one. I want to get that up there as well. So my thing with this is it's like the rhinos are being vindictive because Matt Gaetz kicked this whole thing off. There was 4 of them that wouldn't vote for McCarthy and made all these deals. And, of course, supposedly McCarthy broke the deals he made with them, and that's what led to the ouster. These people are being vindictive because Jim Jordan, look, he's not a rhino. He's a conservative. He's always been a straightforward guy. He's always done what he says he's going to do. The only thing I can think of is they're doing this just to be vindictive. This is not the time to do it. And I even said this on the show when Matt Gaetz was doing this thing. Look, I know you want to put your foot down. I know you want to make your point. I know you mean business. But there comes a point in time to where when you have 96% of the House voting for somebody, all you're doing at that point is stalling. 96% of the House Republicans want this guy as their speaker, and we got these holdouts. It's no different than what's going on now. So did Matt Gaetz kind of set the precedent for that? Yeah, maybe he did. But we're going to have to do something. Now, Brian Kilmeade, which is 0 F's given on this part. Kilmeade's a nice guy. I like Kilmeade. He had this to say about Don Bacon, Representative Don Bacon, when he voted for Kevin McCarthy. Why would you vote for somebody that's just been voted out of there, that doesn't want to run anyway, says he's not running again? Here, check this out. I'm going to pull this up for you. And they're going to be reading off names and the votes on Capitol Hill. So you're going to hear Kilmeade pop up right towards the end of it. So, yeah, roll clip.
Jordan. Auchincloss. Jeffries. Babin. Jordan. Bacon. McCarthy.
Here it is.
Dumbass.
That was a hot mic, okay, but Kilmeade didn't walk that back. Kilmeade says, nobody argued with me about it. I mean, he was right.
Yeah.
This is a game right now. They're playing games. And I didn't stand up for the games that were being played the first time around when McCarthy was going through. I understand both sides of it, but I didn't condone that. And I really don't condone it now.
Yeah. See, this, again, leads to my rant a couple segments ago. We are on the brink of, global war, societal collapse, and these people, for lack of an FCC violation, are sitting there, having this giant pissing match over, some lobbyist cash, and that's exactly what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, Bannon outed that.
They don't give a damn about any American citizen. Anybody that's ever been in government for more than federal government for more than a few years doesn't care about Joe American. They care about how and who is going to pad their pockets.
I agree 100%. And this is what's probably getting scary too, especially we're talking about Biden and the benefits of this. New Eberson poll came out. It's got Trump 47, Biden 45. Before that, Bloomberg Morning Consult poll, Trump 47, Biden 43 in Arizona. In Georgia, Trump 48, Biden 43. Now, these are two states that Trump supposedly lost. I think you're seeing people getting pissed off about this now. At least I hope. Well, I hope we can pull this out before the next election doesn't happen. Anyway, coming back for the second hour of the show here on the Donzo and Deez Show on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal.